Hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTubers. Hi, friends. This is Erica Robinson from In the Company of Cards. And I don't normally come on Wednesdays because Wednesdays are the days that I uh, usually write on Substack. So I will be writing on Substack. If you'd like to follow me there, I am also um, In the Company of Cards. That's the name of my Substack. Um, but there were three things I thought that I'd look at today, or two things, and then I wanted to make an announcement. So, welcome, welcome back. Delighted to have you. I will say we are, I think, 96, 95, or 96 people away from 25,000 subscribers. That's crazy. It's always the only adjective I can come up with to explain this phenomenon. We are not even yet at the 6 month mark, this channel, and I'm thrilled. I would love to get to 25,000 by the end of January. Um, with an eye towards 50,000 by August 1st, which is will be a year since I started this channel. So please do like, share, subscribe, spread the word about the work here. Okay. Uh, First thing I'd like to look at is I want to ask a question and see if we can get an answer that is beyond the obvious for why all external communication uh, has ceased per order of 47 from health agencies. Uh, the Department of Health and Human Services, which of course includes the Food and Drug Administration, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institutes of Health, they all come under that umbrella. And they've all been ordered to cease external communication. And what does that mean? Well, it means no health advisories, no weekly scientific report updates, no updates to websites or social media posts. Meanwhile, we are, I mean, you can call me alarmist if you want. It's okay. I've been called worse. We're on the cusp of bird flu uh, flying over us. So why the blackout? Even the people in these agencies are saying they don't understand it because it's so sweeping and so open-ended. In other words, there's no date certain when that blackout will end. Uh, so beyond the obvious, which is that 47 is engaged in this sort of shock and awe campaign, which is why he did 10,000 things in 24 hours. Um, you know, is there any more that we can glean from this radio silence? And so I think that the card that I'm going to use is the book, because the book is things we don't know, things that are hidden, and all information about the country's health and welfare has now been dried up. That source of information, those sources of information have been dried up. So I'd like to look at why. What's that all about? Okay, so we're going to use the book and then see what the cards have to say. I suspect that I will be drawing more than five. I may well do my 23 card spread. Let's see what the five cards tell us and whether we need to dive deeper. Okay. All right, remember, we're looking for the book. It popped up pretty quick. So this is the radio silence imposed on the Health and Human Services agencies by 47. Okay. At a glance, I will say, and then I'll pull some more cards. I don't want to lose my notes. I'm over here for the other things I want to talk about. Okay. I have a little tiny desk that I work from. Um, let me look at these five cards first and talk about them, and then I'll pull some more clarifiers. So we have the clouds, we have the key. Here is this lack of information. We have the bouquet and we have the rider. There is a very simple answer, which I'm going to try to explicate more, but let me just tell you the short answer. This is a card for obfuscation. Obfuscation is your SAT word of the day. You won't be surprised to learn that I got a perfect score on that SAT many, many decades ago. Obfuscation means to cloud, to confuse, to, uh, look over here, not over there. So that is the intention because the administration feels it's really important to do that, to cast cloud cover over all of this stuff. So that's why the radio silence and the blackout. Why? Because in the meantime, while everything's blacked out, they will craft a message to the public about all things health related that is wrapped up in a big bow with wrapping paper. Nothing to see here. Everything's okay. Everything's under control. There's no such thing as bird flu. Matter of fact, we've conquered death itself. So go about your lives and don't forget to thank me, 47. That's what it is. It's sort of wanting to cast a kind of a Leave It to Beaver 1950s glow over everything, Stepford like. Nothing to see here. That bouquet, I normally I love the bouquet, right? This is a beautiful card. But to me, this card feels incredibly ominous. In other words, 47's been read in to a lot of things, including health issues that are going to be facing us down the line. He's been read in. He was read in before he was inaugurated, obviously, probably read in as a candidate. And so he knows, and he has to um, create a situation where people are narcotized. They've watched the watch, they believe everything that he says, and that they don't panic when bird flu hits or whatever is coming down the pike hits. It's really ominous. I don't like that at all. But that is the message that he's trying to convey. Okay, so let's pull some clarifiers. I let you watch me do that. Then I'm going to pull the final three over here, which I know you can't see, but that's okay. All right. So bear in mind what I said. It's just to sort of keep us in the dark, um, so that we don't expect anything, so that we don't prepare for anything. Because if we don't see it, it doesn't exist, which is what he wants us to think. It's just, anyway, we went that route with COVID, if you recall. And I don't think I need to remind anybody how that story went. But apparently, enough people didn't care such that they voted him in. But anyway, here is this card for obfuscation and clouding things over and shading things and keeping things hidden. The clarifiers are the woman, the moon, and clover. Okay, so this is that haze, right? With everybody being silenced to keep people yin and passive. And to give the impression, this is about reputation, 47's reputation, that everything's good, everything's fine. There's no problems. COVID, bird flu, what do you mean? This is like, you know, Clover in this case is a happy card, but it's like happy talk, happy juice. It's not real. It's just the impression that he wants to give. Okay. Now we have the key. Now remember, the key answers questions. And my question was, why is he doing this? Well, look at the clarifiers. The child, the snake, and the fish. The answer is, the reason that he's doing this is he got read in. Remember? He knows something new is coming, a plague type thing, and I'm going to say bird flu, is coming. And it's going to be problematic, and it's going to create all kinds of, PTSD type flashback emotions, like the run on the toilet paper, for example, the run on everything in the grocery store, right? The lack of PPE or masks and all that other stuff. Um, he knows that's coming because he got read in. So my suspicion is about why he's done it has is clarified with that key card. He knows something new is coming. It's not going to be good. And he's trying to manage people's emotions by not telling them anything. But also, that means that we don't prepare. So take it from me, something's coming. All right. Now, this is that policy, right, of keeping us in the dark. It is 47's policy to block this information from us. Mountain is an impediment, a block, because he doesn't want people to start arguing back and forth about what the right thing is to do, or to come at him and say, you screwed up the first time. Are you going to do any better this time? He doesn't want that. So he's blocking that by creating this cone of silence around health issues and the health agencies. Whew. Okay, next card. Remember, this is that ominous bouquet. And again, think of this as like happy talk, happy juice. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving, people. Don't don't do a run on the grocery stores and the banks and all the rest of it. Okay. Happy talk about what? Oops, sorry. The tree, health. Health. The tree is the card for health in all forms: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. Here, I think we're talking about public health, physical public health. And it will be undercut. This bouquet, it will be undercut. The health of the nation is going to be undercut. But the White House is going to put a bow on it. Now, again, I know I'll be called alarmist, whatever. It's okay. I mean, my job is I'm a seer, right? And this is predictive work. This is what I do. So if you're here and you're watching this and you don't like the message, you might want to think about whether predictive work is really what you want. Maybe you want happy juice that looks like predictive work. And then I'm not your girl. Okay. Rider, remember that the message is everything's fine, it's all good. Remember that bouquet card? And the clarifiers are the dog, the bear, and the tower. So then that's the message he wants to convey. He has friends who are happy to do that for him. And even if they're not happy to do that for him, people in power, he will overwhelm them. He will threaten them. He will fire them because he thinks he is the government. What did Louis say? L'état, c'est moi, meaning I'm the state. L'état, c'est moi. If this is l'état, the state, I can mirror it with the first card. This will be an attempt to run government like Big Brother. Think 1984. Maybe you want to go back and read that. Um, where people are told what the government wants them to hear, and everything else is behind a smokescreen. Uh, Now he's doing this because he's engaging in magical thinking. So this is the future. He thinks if he tells everybody everything's fine, we're good, there's nothing to see here, that things will be fine and improve, and there won't be anything to see. He wants us to engage in the same kind of magical thinking that he's engaging in. But you come to a seer, a reader, um, to hear what they have to say. And I'm saying this is illusory. This is an illusion. Um, so, you know, eyes front, eyes front. It's not good. It's not good. Okay. Uh, you know, this time around, he has a lot more. I mean, we thought he had a lot of cooperation in the last administration. I think it feels like even more cooperation now, but I also think that there will be a backlash, right? I mean, there's a duty to warn among the medical public health officials. They have a duty to warn. Um, they have a Hippocratic oath which says do no harm. And I think a lot of medical people take that oath seriously. So we will see who capitulates and folds and stays silent, and who among us are in the resistance in the public health arena. Speaking of, let's see who's who and what's what, I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on J.D. Vance, currently the vice president. And I want to do this because, as I'm sure you've all heard, there was a religious service at the National Cathedral, as you know, and that's an Episcopalian operation. If you have heard any of my story, you know that I have a, a kind of a history with the Episcopal Church. But at any rate, there was a woman bishop, and she, from the pulpit, essentially entreated, I'm going to say, 47 to uh, to not implement policies that will foster fear, inequity, um, havoc among vulnerable populations. And you can see it online. I mean, I thought she did what you're meant to do from the pulpit when you have the president in your pew, which is to speak truth to power. I mean, of course, she did what she was supposed to do, and she did it well. And I saw that she sort of took a breath and gulped before she started because, we all know who we're dealing with, a narcissist in chief, entertainment purposes only, and that he would not take kindly to being critiqued in that manner or enjoined in that manner to do the right thing. So that was no surprise. But what I did find really interesting was J.D. Vance's reaction as she spoke. So I encourage you to go to YouTube. I think, here is the best place, and just type in, Bishop's sermon, Bishop's comments to Trump. Uh, because you'll see that there are cameras, obviously, that were trained on the bishop. There were cameras that were trained on 47, and then there were cameras that were trained on Vance, and it was fascinating. So she started out by saying, you've said that you believe that God is the one responsible for your elevation once again to this office, and that, your God is a mighty God who did this for you. So at that point, you see Vance kind of smile because, yeah. And then she starts to light into Trump. And JD Vance looks really uncomfortable. He looks over to his wife, Usha, and says something. Well, first he looks over to her. She does not look back at him. Her eyes are trained on the bishop. Then later on, a little bit later, Vance looks at Usha again and says something. And she is impassive because her eyes are on the bishop. And then towards the end of the bishop's, you know, uh, appeal, we'll say, to 47, he looks down. And to me, he seemed ashamed. Now, you know, sometimes I get accused of being Pollyanna. Not lately, but I have been accused of being Pollyanna here. Pollyanna meaning I see only the good. I like to look for the good because why, of course, I want to look for the good. Um, Melania, I did notice that her reaction was kind of what she had on the back of that jacket that time. I don't really care, do you? That was pretty much her affect. Usha looked like, again, she was paying attention, rapt attention to the bishop. It was Vance who looked like he could just crawl out of his skin. Now, Vance, of course, he is the gentleman in waiting, right? He's the one who is a heartbeat away now from the presidency. And I guess, many people would consider that to be an enviable place to be. I suspect that that's what he thought. But remember that he's also, just as 47 has many, many masters. Um, let's name 47's masters: Putin, Musk, uh, MAGA, the tech bros. I could go on, but you know what I mean. Uh, Vance has as his master Peter Thiel, the South African who is deeply entrenched in the weeds of Project 2025. JD Vance has been picked as Project 2025's ideal president. And what the bishop was um, talking about were a lot of the planks in the 2025 Project 2025 platform, which, of course, in the end, Vance is meant to put into place when the time comes. I would like to know, what is JD Vance thinking now? Okay. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Um, and maybe we'll see, well, yes, it is, because I'm the vice president and then I'm going to be the president. So, hell yes, it's worth it. I don't know. I just know he looked sick during that service, during that sermon. So let's see. We will use, we'll use, we'll use the young man for him. He's not an old man. He's a young man on the come up. And so that's what we'll use for him. So I'm going to shuffle a little bit and look at JD Vance. How is he feeling? What is he thinking about the role that he's playing in this American drama? Ah, and he comes out as the first card. Okay. That means everything comes after him. Okay. So we have JD Vance, the coffin, the star, the young woman, and the lily. Okay. And then I'm gonna move these up on my little table. And before I talk about these five, I will pull some clarifiers and I'll let you watch me do that. And then I'm going to pull my three postscript cards over here. Okay. So, all right. So we have Vance, we have the coffin, we have the star, we have the young woman, and we have the lily. Okay, so this is Vance. I think he feels trapped. This one of the meanings of this card is like claustrophobia. He's trapped. He can't escape. What is he supposed to do? Say, I quit? I don't want to be the vice president because I don't want to be the president because I don't want to be owned by Peter Thiel. He can't do that. He's trapped. His future is written, he believes. And Usha looks away from him. Now, you can't see, for whatever reason, well, you see that they're both looking that way, but they're not looking at each other, is the point. Usha is looking elsewhere. And the last card in the original line is the lily. He would love to have peace with his wife because she's not happy. I can mirror these two cards. This is Vance wishing that Usha would make peace with this, or that he could some kind of way do something to be not in this situation. He just wants peace in his marriage. I don't think he has it. And look, I can mirror the second card with Usha because if he's trapped, she's trapped, she thinks. Okay. So now we're gonna go back to the first card, which is Vance, and I pulled vertically. And so these cards are all going to clarify or modify what I've said about Vance. We have clouds, we have the older woman, and we have the tower. Okay, this is Vance. saying to himself, what have I gotten myself into? And what do I do? This is, remember, yin energy. And then this, he's powerless to change things. I think he feels like a man alone, a man on an island by himself. Meanwhile, of course, he's got handlers telling him, do this, think that, say that. And it'll be worse when he becomes president, if he becomes president. He feels lonely, isolated, confused, powerless, and, as I said, trapped. So this is the second card in our original line. The clarifiers are the tree, the whip, and the stork. So if this is the card for feeling trapped and claustrophobic, this has had an adverse effect on his, I would say, certainly on his mental health, his emotional health. Remember that this is the card for health, and this speaks to his health feeling being besieged. But he thinks that he tells himself, yeah, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. That's what he tells himself, because that's what the stork is. Now, because he was the first card that popped up, he's not the center card. And whenever that happens, I'm always like, well, ooh, what is the center card? The center card is the star. And that's the card for the future. Clarifiers are the fox, the anchor, and the ring. So here's the future. And he's saying to himself, you know, my thing about when you have your hand in the lion's mouth, you have to dance to his music. He feels very much like he has to dance to the music of the lion who has his hand in its mouth. But he also says to himself, I'm a smart guy. I'm going to figure out my way around this. Do I have to do the dance that the lion wants? Can I change the music? I know I can't take my hand out, but is there anything I can do short of taking my hand out of the lion's mouth to improve my situation, to make me feel less conflicted and confused and morally compromised? He's trying to figure it out. Should I do this? Should I do that? He's looking at all the angles. But bottom line, he's stuck. He's stuck in this trap, this circular trap. If he does this, then this one will be mad. If he does this, then somebody else will be mad. You know, if he stays aligned with the with 47, he runs the risk of Usha's wrath or Usha's coldness or Usha leaving him or whatever. He certainly can't run afoul of his financial benefactor, Peter Thiel. He can't run afoul of the Republicans. He's the president now of the Senate. Um, he's this card here is as much has as much trapped and circular energy as this coffin does. Moving forward, we have in our original line this card. This is the card for Usha. The clarifiers are 47, the dog, and the snake. 47 knows that Usha is the weak link. Um, you know, theoretically, uh, she's the one whose head is on the pillow next to JD's at night. The last voice in his ear at night, the first voice in his ear in the morning. 47 knows that. So his plan is to befriend her, to charm her, because isn't that what narcissists do? To get her on side. But she is not stupid. I can mirror her the snake. She knows a snake when she sees one. So she will not be susceptible to his blandishments, I don't think. Okay, we have this lily. And remember, I said that I could mirror the lily with JD's card. He just wants peace, peace in his heart, peace in his house. I think he has neither. Uh, and the clarifiers are the house, the mountain, and the crossroads. Really interesting. So this is that peace that he wishes he had. This is the White House. Don't be surprised if he doesn't. Well, remember, this is the card for like a delay or a block, something that can keep you from something. I think it's about him having to choose choose. This is the card for choices between an eventual seat at the Resolute desk himself in the White House or whatever its opposite is. Um, he may, who knows, in the end decide to make peace with his situation, but it will cost him personally and morally and psychologically and probably physically it'll cost him. I drew the final three cards. These cards are called the postscript. Like, is there anything else I can say about this? And we have the moon, we have the child, and we have the heart. I don't know, I'll tell you, this is about both reputation and self-image. And essentially, this is his dilemma. Who do I want to be? Who am I? Whom do I appear to be to my handlers? And whom do I appear to be to the person I love most in the world? Because it's not one and the same thing. Now, this card, I'm not sure. I mean, it's the child card. So, the child card is about something new or something small. Um, I think in this moment, right this second, the thing that he would weigh less in the scheme of things is his love for her and his love for whatever his moral code is. I think right now, because he feels so trapped, he's going along to get along and he's choosing 47 and his own handlers, teal. But I can mirror this first card, him, with the last card in the main spread, Crossroads. I don't think this story is written yet because Crossroads is about choices, and he absolutely is at a crossroads. Do I keep walking down this path, which could very well lead me to the White House and possibly, probably sooner than in 4 years? But what will it cost me? And am I willing to pay that price? He is a man conflicted, painfully so. And I think that what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pray for his higher self to speak words of wisdom to him. The world can be an incredibly seductive place, but there are certain things, right, of the spirit and of the heart, which should never be compromised. But the temptation is always there. And I think he is a man who is trapped in the valley, doing his 40 days and 40 nights, multiplied by however many, by 4 years. I wouldn't want to be him. I think he's a man in pain because I think he has, unlike 47, I believe he has a conscience. I really do. Which is why I say that my prayer will be for him to heed his conscience, heed the advice of his higher self, look into the eyes of his wife, because you could tell both in the way she paid attention to the bishop and the fact that she ignored him when he wanted to sort of make a connection with her 2 or 3 times. Um, and she didn't do it. He is a man alone. And in the end, we're all alone, right? And we have our consciences for company, our higher selves for company. And our higher self will always speak if we decide to listen. So I wish him a good dialogue with his higher self. The final thing that I wanted to say is just a an offer. I'm thinking of, there are a lot of people who have sort of been lit up about Lenormand because of the work that they've seen me do here. And I've always said, yeah, this is not a teaching channel. If you learn, you're learning by osmosis here, and that's terrific. I know a lot of you have bought my book, have bought my deck, or have bought a Lenormand deck, because by the way, mine's not the only one. There are many beautiful, beautiful ones, and some may appeal to you more than mine, but a lot of people have bought themselves a deck and my book, even my course and are really excited because what Lenormand is an opportunity to do, it gives you an instrument for you to talk to your higher self. And that's been my goal here, to show you that that's possible, you know, that you don't need to um, rely on other people um, to give you the advice that your own heart can tell you through this mitigating translating tool, um, cards, just one form, one tool. But anyway, I thought what might be a cool thing, and you can tell me if you think it's cool or not cool, but I thought about uh, asking if you'd like to do a Zoom. I would limit it to 100 people. I would do it sometime in February, TBD, as they say. And it would be a practicum. So, if you're interested in this, here's what it would look like. Someone would be selected to bring a question to the table. Uh, it can be personal, it can be of larger significance than that. Either one, doesn't matter. And they would pull cards, and then we would all come together, listen to what the issue is, listen to the person's interpretation of their own cards, that spread, and then chime in. Because, you know, I tell you that, like when I told you that somebody said to me, well, I don't understand what is the clover? Clover is good luck. So what is clover? Each card has multiple meanings, and intuition is a big part of how to read the cards fluently and elegantly and eloquently. And that is a skill that develops over time. And my thought was that if we can watch someone do it and give their interpretation, and then sit with that and look at those cards and say, from my angle, it looks like this. You may be giving that person some insight that they didn't have before. There's a South American writer named Jorge Luis Borges, Borges, Borges. And he wrote this short story called Las Ruinas Circulares, which means the circular ruins. But bottom line, the story makes the point that when a writer writes a book, it's from his or her perspective, and they offer then that story, let's say it's a novel, to the world. The thing is that each time a reader reads that story, it's as though it's being rewritten all over again. And why is that? Well, because we all come to whatever it is that we read with a whole lifetime of experiences, right? So you recreate what you read. You don't have the writer behind you saying, no, no, what I meant was, all you have is the writer's words, and they offer it into the world. And then in your reading of their work, you see it through your own lens and give it life and give it meaning, so that writers are every person who reads. Well, Lenormand, remember, it's a word language, is that way as well. So I think that you come at it wrong if you, for example, were to have a teacher like me and say to me, well, you tell me what it is, Erica, and then I'll study what you say, and then, okay, so that's what that means. No, that's just what I see. Question is, if it's your spread, what do you see? What is your higher self telling you? And then if other people are looking at that spread as well, it will tell them stuff as well that might be instructive to you. So I thought of, calling this a practicum. It's like a practice thing so that you can see the cards function in real life. I think I would do several. I think the Zoom would be 2 hours long. Um, I don't know, maybe I would do breakout rooms, and then we could all come together for the second hour and report out. So anyway, it's just a thought. If it's something that you're interested in, just send me an email. The email is in the company of cards at gmail.com if you're interested in learning more. And again, I feel like, you don't want to come at this as a complete newbie. And so at the very least, I would suggest that you email me if you've read my book and if you own a deck of Lenormand cards. I think that those are the tools, obviously, that you would need. Again, this is no pressure. It's just something that I thought would be interesting. Uh, there may be a cost, but it would not be much, like, I don't know, $5. I'm not, and that's just for my time. Um, but let me know. Again, the email is in the company of cards at Gmail. All right, so that's it for today. Now I'm off to write my Substack, which is also in the company of cards. So if you want to, you can go to Substack and see that later on once I've actually written it. So everybody have a great Wednesday, and I will see you very soon. Take care.